All right, so I went back. I had closed my file the last time, so I lost what I was setting up in Photoshop, but it's okay. I'm used to this. Done it enough times with Loudhouse to know exactly how things are set up that way. Okay. So I was going through, I guess you could say, the field notes for setting up the room for Mercury and stuff like that. They're a little different than ours. I'm really used to more of Gemfield. Gemfield was a stickler for storyboards. They don't seem to be too stickler for storyboards, but I put mine in a folder, whether that's not what they do, just because it's what I, set the scenes up as much as possible kind of thing. They also set up their camera keys a little bit different, but not too crazy. So it's just leveled differently, and that's something I will have to look at. Okay, so what I did, let's turn this shit off for a second. Yep, okay, that's done. Turn off that. So going back to what we were talking about last class, so use your field guide to your full manage, and like I said, save it and like separately and save it for your other work. This field guide will be your savior when it comes to your own locations because it has the rule of thirds already in it. So one thing to remember is that your scene will come off to pretty much the main cutoff point here, that red line. That's where the storyboard scene kind of cuts off completely. This green line that's coming through it, this is what they called their action line. Bring up the thingy here. Do I have it? Yes. So go back. This guy. Well, the way they talk about it is that this is the main action line cutoff. So I guess if they have any snappy kind of action, that way something, it doesn't get, I guess, incomplete or something on the sides there, and just create some more snappier kind of form. So it's there to make sure that if any really important actions, like if the character suddenly was standing on this line, that's a problem. You automatically have to shift that over to accommodate it to fit to the right shot. Generally, the storyboard artist won't do that to you, but there could be a time where the storyboard artist is not as fair, and I will not lie, there's been a few times that they will kick you in the pants for that stuff, and they like to throw those curveballs where you have to try to figure that crap out. Again, just always be prepared. That's what it comes to. Always thinking outside the box. So this is your main field guide. This is the one they set up on the top main layer here. So this duty here. You'll notice that I've labeled it FG002 because we're in scene 2. So I've got the, to indicate this is the main scene number, and this is the size to what it fits to. And again, labeling is important to that, keeping everything organized to a stickler in fashion. I have 2 storyboards here, just the one. So the part where he's talking, and then the one where he's holding the globe. Technically, because he's not moving around, the globe one's not necessary, but from what I learned, the way I was told in Gemfield, especially when we're working on Loudhouse, is that any important movement for prop design or something like that, you want to kind of leave some kind of hints and notes for the animators, because it's not just you that's going to be making this scene. This is going to pass down to the BG painters, then it's going to be passed down to the animators, and then they're going to go through that whole process. So it's really important to kind of like leave some little breadcrumbs to know exactly what they're expected. Now, granted, they should be looking at the storyboard. That is their job. So don't expect them, don't do the work for them. That's what it comes down to. Just the most important information, and especially something who's comes in contact with something, which is why, like in scene 4, he throws the globe away, but that door opens, and that's a big part of it. Not only that, this guy flips around and sits on the bed afterwards, so it makes it a more interactive kind of shape and form. So those are things you kind of can note. I always, when I would start up my scenes, would make a little note on top just to, pay attention to what is there, so I'll know that. Leave a little note, for instance, of, is that big enough for me? Sure, why not? Yeah, I know, there's nothing in there. So this bed, where is my life? Oh, there we go. Bed, separate. So something I know that this will need to be separated. It might be safe to say that the ball could be separated as well. And these immediately become overlays because the character, well, this is an overlay because it's in front of the character. Underlays for the characters that, you know, interact with the props or changing and stuff like that. But also this door is going to open, so you need to have that room for that door because the door is another interactive spot. So the handle, and then you're going to have to make some underlays for the backgrounds for the hallway and stuff like that. So always make some little notes just to kind of know exactly what you're looking at, kind of, you know, where everything's going, because there may be times that you'd be working on a location and all of a sudden you totally forget about it, and then your supervisor comes back, it's like, you didn't separate this. Well, darn it, and then you have to do this before you get paid. So always make sure you leave some kind of notes that you know what's going on in the scenes. It's always a good indicator. And that making sure with your character stuff is working as well. Okay, so now that I've got this scene situated, I set up the second scene. And because this guy is stationary pretty much through everything, he barely moves at all, this is a good indicator where the shot is going to be sitting all the time. Because you'd be surprised that even though this shot looks totally the same, the way they've shifted the camera actually quite a little bit. So when I pop in this one, just turn this one off, look at where the end of the scene goes now. So immediately, the next reuse of field guide is going to be, take this guy off so you get, no, not that. Where's my field guide? Right here. Now you can see, and see how they changed the colors so you know that's a reuse. That's the ones that go down the session. If you download that file, you'll see that every one of the field guides have a different color to associate. It's a reuse. So it's all pretty colors. But you see how it's shifted over? And because that's shifted over, that means we have to draw a little further than what we normally plan to do in the first place to make sure that that scene fits. That's why that whole thing in second year, draw past your field guideline, is so important. This is why. This is what happens quite often. And sometimes it might even turn into a pan. It gets so dramatic. So, yeah. Does that make sense? Any confusion? Nothing, Chat.
I'm kind of confused, but I'm not sure what I'm confused about. I'm just confused. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Well, I'll go through all the different things. When you find that you're confused with one of them, you can let me know.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Sorry. I was wondering, because you said we're doing scene 002 and then reuse 004.
Yep.
So which one of those scenes do we have to draw first? And then which one of them would go into the reuse?
You're drawing the background. The background will just be the same. You don't have to draw two of those.
Okay.
The reuses are basically just storyboards and field guides that are plopped in there to indicate that this is where it's sitting on the scene. And that's the best thing about it, is that it's one layout, but could have like multiple scenes in it.
Okay, so we're putting the storyboard into the reuse folder.
Yeah.
Different one. Okay.
For 004 only. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any others?
I just had a small question.
Sure.
When I was setting up my scene like this and I was bringing in my characters for the size relation stuff, the character for, I'm assuming the dad, I haven't watched this show, the guy in the background.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a comparison to the main character on his character sheet.
Yeah.
So how do I know how to size him? Do I just like follow what the board is?
Yeah, at this point, that's what you're kind of gonna have to lie to. Like, honestly, when you usually get your size relationship characters, they give you an actual like PSD file that will have a size relationship character next to it. So the main character will always be associated to it. And so it's kind of hard. You're tweaking that too. So you basically try to follow the board with the dad on that factor. I think it's a dad too. Pretty sure it is. I don't watch the show either. Any other questions?
Also, another question.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
you're putting, sorry, when you're putting something on a different layer, so like the bed is on a separate layer, the ball's on a separate layer, you're drawing all the stuff behind it as well, yes? Or just like,
Yes. Yep. Yes, you are.
okay, so like for the closet that's behind and like the desk with the lamp on it, we're drawing that all the way to the ground. So like
Yep.
drawing, okay.
Yep, you'll have to figure that out. And that's where it's looking at the boards and see what they have in there. It seems like they've got a good concept design on it. So at least they give you like a solid, good idea of where it's going. You're just going to have to imagine what it looks like around the floor area.
Okay.
I have a question. In terms of how big the character should be, so should we be following the size of the character in the board?
Yes and no. There'll be times, and again, this is a trial and error process. You'll get a character, the board artists may draw them bigger than what they should be. And the way to really do that is to compare them to the layouts and where they fit and stuff like that. So knowing how tall they are to the bed. Granted, we don't know this. They didn't give us PSD files for these layouts and stuff designed. So we have to kind of follow the board as our guideline right now. Just that's what you do for the test. You'd have better instruction when you, actually do the scenes in studio and whatnot too.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. Any more?
Yeah, I actually do have another question.
Cool.
I have like a list. Do we do, for the locker room scene, is that in a separate Photoshop file? Or
Oh yeah, that'll be the separate, yeah, totally different. There'll be two Photoshop files that will be handing in. So one for this scene and then the one for the locker scene. The locker scene, like I said, pretty much download that location design, blow it up to the scene that you need to, and then if you need to move things around, move things around. But you're pretty much tracing that one to a point. And then adding anything like props or something that goes on the scene, or separating things for like locker doors opening or something like that.
And when we bring in, like, because there's a folder of backgrounds for each of the scenes, should we size the background to the storyboard?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And you may find things will be a little bit different just because of it's mostly, think about the shot and how big the character is in the shot. If the storyboard thing looks a little unrealistic, then, give it a little extra room or something like that. Again, they should be pretty straightforward. Like I said, the board's been pretty solid on size relationship so far from what I've flipped through. So I think you guys will be good with just following the boards.
Okay. And one more question.
Yep.
For the locker room scene, I'm not sure if you're going to go over that again, but I was trying to figure out the size for each of the characters. And I was following the storyboard, but I was wondering if I should have brought in the kid, whatever the main character, and to size compare it with them. Or
yeah, usually the main character is the one who kind of nails down the concept for you as good as possible. Again, they should give you something that will compare that character with, I think one of the superheroes actually does have Joey next to them, so that might help you with that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, because there's also poses of them sitting down. That's what I was using.
Okay.
But I was also wondering if I should have used some of the poses of them standing up to compare. I wasn't sure.
I generally just use the stand-up poses, just because it's easier to compare, how high they are to something. Let me see here. Yeah, so some of them have a size relationship size right next to Joey there, so you kind of have an idea how big they are to things. So that's helpful. The dad is the only one that really doesn't have it. So, I guess it's not too important if he was in the shot or not. Well, he's in the shot, but as a size relationship, you don't necessarily have to have him in there, I guess. Oh, they've got this, though. Got a lineup, but is that just other characters? Yeah.
It's just extras, yeah.
Yeah, we don't need those. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's funny. Like most of them have a good size relationship aspect, but this one, and even the mom there. Yeah, so if it has a size relationship with Joey next to it, that's a good one to use. I guess is the best way to say it. Have them
Okay.
standing up, it helps. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, no more questions? I can move on and kind of help you now figure out. Now we got to look at finding the horizon line and setting up a floor grid for these. Okay. So I'm going to make a new layer here in my notes. Oh, I guess before I jumped into that, you'll notice that I have saved the file in a certain format. This is Studio Fire. I can show you Loud House here. They put the show title. So I'm going to write it down, actually. Go away. Right here. So what they do is they do the show in a short form. Then there's an underscore, the episode number. And then it is the scene number, and then the location. And that's how like all setup for like saving your files are set up this way. So for this one, the short term for this one is AP, so for Atomic Puppet. So that's the first one. And it's underscore. If you look at the storyboard, the number that appears on the file is 118B. And then the scene we're working on, I labeled that wrong. 002 is the main scene for this, because the rest are all reuses in this scene. And then we are looking at, I guess, bedroom. That's how they labeled it in the folder online. So that's what we could say. And I guess when we're looking on another side, you could say back view or closet view. Just indicate the other sides. But that's how you usually label the files on the top. And you get used to this once you get into the momentum and knowing the shots. But usually they provide the stock name, and you'll know exactly like where the location of the bedroom is. But that's how you set up the scene. So for the locker room, it will be AP, the number of the show, so 18B again, and then the number of the scene. Then it'll be locker room or whatever. Actually, I think they'll probably have it exactly labeled there for you. Let me just take a peek. Go into PGs. Whoop. I didn't want to click in there. I just wanted to see. Yeah, see, most of them are labeled in there for you, so which is helpful. Okay, so bedroom. There you go, AP bedroom. That one's set up there. And there you go, opposite view of lockers. So most of them have the actual labels that kind of help you on that one. But I always put in the label for the show, the episode, and then the scene number. That's the main setup. You always do it. And of course, save it as a PSD file. Don't save it as a JPEG file because it flattens everything. Okay, so I'm going to turn off this one and go back to the main scene because that's the main one we should be focusing on. So now we got to figure out where the horizon line is, where our vanishing points, that kind of thing is going to be. And since, you're not required to do the full construction breakdown for a test, they expect you to do that and then do the cleanup. And that's what you hand in is the cleanup. Where's my field gun? That's my one. I want this guy. Yes. So usually the indicator, of course, is looking at the perspective. And when you see a straight line going across the page, I'm going to put my notes to help. Hold down Shift, and then you drag the pen across your tablet. It'll make a straight line if you hold down shift all the time. So anything that's pretty straight there, over here, pretty straight here too. So I would say that, yeah, that's a line. Yeah, I would say the horizon line is there. Now you're looking at this guy, and this one doesn't seem to be following the line. That's because they've implemented a bit of different style to it. And they kind of, it's, let's just say if you did this in second year design with Tom, he'd probably have an aneurysm. This is when you can get away with this stuff. It follows a different, it's taking the cubist form where the perspective doesn't matter anymore and things get flatter and easier. This is very common in like standard TV cartoons today. So because it's easy, it's quick, you zip through them very fast. God, Loud House had like some of the craziest things. The pictures on the wall and stuff were rectangles, but then they had like these tiny little rectangles in the middle. There was no images ever in them, just these blocks that were on the wall all the time, but that was the style. And this is where you have to really analyze like what's different. They don't use up and down straight lines. Like look at the door. The door is on this crazy angle. What? But that again is the style, so you have to accommodate to those needs. So one thing you can do when you want to make like a straight line and not at the same time, you know, do that, you can use, I guess you could say the ruler tool can help. But what I generally do is hold down, hit the spot where I want to make an angle, and then hold down shift and then hit, and it will create a line going straight up. So that helps quite a bit. If you find your brush is tapering too much, you might have to go into, I might have turned mine off. That might be why. Yeah, see, my shape dynamics is completely turned off right now. That will give you a straight line. If I were to turn that on, so that would taper everything, which makes it a nicer brush all in comparison. But if I were to do that method, so let's say dot, go line, yeah, it tapers it a bit. So it depends to the art style, what works better. You might have to go over things afterwards and stuff like that. But that's basically your replacement for a ruler in digital layout design. So any brush that you prefer to use or whatever, always go into shape dynamics, turn it off if you want to have that solid straight line. If you want a tapered line, then keep shape dynamics on. So that's just a quick note on that one. You can, I mean, you can use these, the shape tools, and you can get something like a straight line to help you, but I mean, it does the same effect, but you may not get a taper if the artwork requires a taper or something like that. So it can get pretty static if you do it that way. So it's up to you. Okay, now to get rid of all this mess. So now that I figured out where the horizon line is kind of situated, I can start plotting out how far my vanishing points are. And I'm going to have to expand the canvas right now. So if you need to make room on the canvas to show where your vanishing points are going, take the cropping tool, which is that little picture frame with that little slash through it. Select your whole canvas like a selection box, and then you can just drag out the sides. If Photoshop doesn't crash during that. Generally it doesn't, but I don't trust anything with Zoom. Yeah, so as you can see, if you're not drawing past that point, no point in putting a white fill if you don't need to, but then you can take that line that you just drew and expand further. Whoop, that was on. So you know exactly how far you need to go. So hopefully this is enough room. If not, expand the canvas more. It always comes down to. And to test that out, we always should start with the floor grid. So I'm seeing, this is a closet. I'm going to indicate probably the floor is there. And a little further up. This is where the more of the trial and error process you need to figure that out, and then you can follow those lines to the vanishing point to see where they are. But trying to see what it is on the board, even to this one probably won't be as, yeah, that one's pretty close on. So let's go a little bit further.
You're shift clicking for the straight lines?
Yep. Hold shift down. So
Okay.
hit the with the color without shift first, then you hit shift when you hit the other spot, and it'll create those lines. I'll actually turn my shape dynamics off again so these lines are really stark. There we go. So that's actually going to be a little wider down. Z so many times. No, still a bit further. So definitely I'm going to have to expand maybe to the end here. A bit more. So bring this guy back out again. Select everything. Don't just select that area you want to expand or you'll crop the canvas. And that sucks. And then just want to fix this first. There we go. Try to figure this out one more time. See how far I have to go. Zoom out if you really need the extra room to see where things go. There we go. Now we've got it right exactly. So here is a VP. And the bed is an important contact point because that's where the character is sitting and stuff. So generally you want to stay something as close as possible to there. And this one might be further too. Oh yeah, definitely further. So now we're going to expand the other side. And this is usually the longest part, is just trying to figure this out first. So we don't have complications when you start. At least you have something, a guiding point that will help you get things as close as possible. You just have to remember that there's a weird angled shape to some things and address those. That's why we do the rough. Okay, so this one first, I want to go here. Address it here. Further than that, good Lord. Yeah, so a little bit further. More here, please. And then you can crop this after once you get your rough down because you have an idea where all the lines are. You don't need to have it this long all the time. This is just for the preliminary process to know where everything is. Someone trying to get in first. No. That's a crappy line. Good job, Jack. Zoom likes to suddenly leg the pen sometimes. Makes me angry. Okay, so let's go here now. And now let's see if it goes to here. That's a leg, man. Yeah, it's closer. Okay, so now I've got a little idea that that vanishing point is way over there.
Hi, sorry.
Hi.
Hi. Sorry, I just want to let you know that there's someone that can't join. She wrote it on the Discord.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's nothing popping in.
Oh, okay.
So there's nothing saying that she's in the waiting room or anything either.
Oh, okay.
Let me just see. Huh. Tell her to keep trying. Like I said, there's nothing popping up, but I don't see anything yet. Because usually it pops up and lets me know that someone needs to get in. Okay, so now that I figured that out, I can start establishing a freaking floor grid, knowing how everything works. So line, I don't know, here, line. And it's all just shift, hold down shift. And the best thing about this, you don't have to be perfect with your floor grid. You just have to have some understanding that this is going to work. That was a lazy one. Yeah, it's better. Maybe one more by the foot here, in between this one. Sure. Maybe one more here too. Cool. Now I can do the opposite. Bring that in. Yeah, sure. Do the same one. Why not?
I'm sorry. Could you tell me how to turn off the tapering again? Because I think it's just not letting me shift click. It was working before, but I think it's the reason why it's not anymore.
Yeah, it's usually the case that causes a bit of the hiccup. So when you go into your brush thing, you'll get a little thing that looks like a little can with brushes sticking out of it. You can also have it floating, so have it accessed as much as possible. You can put it in here if you need to. And so when you click that, thank you. It shows you all your brushes, and this is where you can go through. You can change angles, spacing, whatever. But right there is the shape dynamics, the first one. When you click that on, that's what gives you the tapered edge, which may be not making that straight line. But if it's off, it will be a straight line completely. So flip back and forth through that one. If you find that it's not working for either, you may have to restart Photoshop, which it happens sometimes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so I've got a somewhat of a, just finish off that last little bit there on this side of the room, just so we know where the end of that room is, because I kind of associated that down here would be the end of it. Break it all the way. Because that doesn't have to be 100% perfect. You just have a good idea. It's always the pre-production stuff of problem solving, making sure everything works. That's time-consuming stuff. Once you get into it, it's nothing. And eventually, you'll be able to notice the floor and understand the horizon lines without going through this process. You'll be able to skip it completely. But generally, I want everyone to be doing it because the layout tests they require you to kind of think outside the box and to brainstorm. And one of the reviews that we got back from Jamfel Emmerich was saying that not understanding the floor grids and stuff like that. So it is something I want you to have in your location designs, in your rough stages and stuff like that. I'll bring that back on. Oh, there's someone popped in now on a different thing. See if that works. Did that work? They get in? They're on their phone now. Unfortunately, it seems like their computer. Okay. Okay. And also remember, guys, that I'm recording this right now. So there'll be a video on this process because I started recording immediately when we got into to this lecture, because this is the important part of the lecture, and that will be available for you guys to review if you get disconnected or any of you or need a refresh. They'll all be there. That's the main point of these Zoom recordings. Not to drive us mad and up the walls, not at all. College would never do that. All right, so I can lower the opacity of this now just to kind of make things easier to see. Bring my size relationship dude back up. Now I can kind of see if he were to move in proper perspective around the room or something like that. So the character's feet are about here. And top of his hair's there. If I were to bring myself to there, to there. So bringing him to around the door. Yeah, it looks about a good size. Not too big. Around the computer. I think that's a computer or a TV. I don't know. Yeah, it's a computer. And yeah, so generally his size there that looks reasonable. That looks believable and works fine. What if I do it the other way? If he moves over to the dresser, That dresser looks pretty big, but maybe it's one of those tall ones, those big wardrobe ones. If he moved here, I always like to compare to the doors. Doors are like your God points when it comes to how they fit somewhere. Yeah, it looks about reasonable because the dad's a bit bigger, so he'd fit through the top of the door. Yeah, so that all those things, he should be, he should fit fine. So there's like the first like planning process completed. So what I usually recommend, you can either keep this guy on, lower the opacity as much as you need to if you have to. It's better when you don't have a black box that's going around it. So you can redraw the lines if you want to. If you don't want to have the black box, just do a quick sketch over, make it easy for your eyeballs. Or I want to keep this low so I have something to start with. So before I start like separating all the layers and where to go from there, I want to start breaking down some of the furniture and how far I have to draw through because of this scene here. Where's the freaking thing gone now? Give me there. Yeah. So I know that I have to, you know, show more of this. Does the dresser end here? Obviously it's tall, so then I'm probably gonna have to show like the angle to it. And yeah, it's probably the end of it right there, the corner. And same with here, just a little bit more. You may have to kind of tweak things to make things work because again, you don't know what the scene looks like unless they show the desk in that shot. I know Photoshop is so laggy with Zoom. That's why I just wanted to like kind of break it down with you guys and then kind of let you do it. And then you can, you know, scream at me when things are, and we can go through Discord. Make it easier because Zoom just makes life so much fun. Okay. Where'd that bedroom? Where'd that bedroom? Here's that bedroom. That's not what I clicked. This one. Okay. So that's the bedroom. So there's something here. You're not going to see that shot. That's not important. There's something else here. Make sure there's nothing else that could be helpful. I don't see anything. So, yep, you're just gonna have to make it up. That's all newscaster stuff. Yep, okay. So there's nothing there to guide us on that factor. So again, you have to rely on the board. The board is going to be your immediate guide for everything. All right. I'm going to turn off this panel first because I want to see this one. So first thing we'll look into to understand is overlays. Overlays are anything that's in front of the character. You could have multiple overlays as much as possible. There could be props or anything like that. There'll be overlays, kind of that thing. The main thing is you just separate them. They're part of the background. There's still a black line and you just draw through from the on the other side kind of thing with the rest of your layers, but it's just, you just make it separate. So this ball, for instance, if this character is kind of like he stepped backward or something, technically he goes behind it. So we need to separate it. Get out of red here. Bleak. If you turned off your tapering, you may want to turn it back on for this process, just because it might make your lines look like poop. I don't know how well Zoom is going to accept me doing a full freaking circle here, but we will see. Let's see how much lag. Oh, that's awful. No. And you may have to do a couple times so you can keep it loose. Don't try to trace slowly. Try to be fast. Oh, it's been a while, my friend. That's a bit better. Still not great, but getting there. Practice makes perfect. Could be better. All right, whatever. You get the idea. So that would be a separate layer that you would do. I'm determined now. this way. That's a bit better. I don't think it's completely a perfect circle in this anyways, but gotta draw some circles. I mean, I would generally try to cheat with it and then like do this and then fit it in there afterwards. You could do that, but it might affect your line quality, so don't highly recommend it. Maybe if I get closer, hold on. Let's try this. That's a bit better, okay. So, yeah, that's not a perfect ball, actually. The circle is not quite perfect. And honestly, when I first got into Gemfield, I had a small Cintiq. You had me do circles and curves as much as possible, and you have to. He said, "Don't go slow, because what happens when you go slow, you'll get shaky, unsteady lines. The faster you go, the smoother it is." So that is the trick for that. However, you may have to have your finger on the Control Z option for a long time. Oh, that was better. But I haven't done simple line. This is why I don't like clean line work. I'm more of a rough person because I could do this better. That's whatever. Fine, let's do that one. If I need to tweak it, I can do this at least. So that's when you can hit Command or Control T to transform the object. Has to be on the layer that you use. I'm too busy with Loudhouse because Loudhouse never has any perfect shapes. And then you could separate it that way. But that would be on a separate layer. You would put it probably on the top. Yes. Hold on, let me just check Loudhouse here. Yes, no, see, they work from the bottom. They're a little weirder. Okay, so they have their first layer would be what's behind. Mercury, what are you doing? This makes puzzles. Let me see. BG level. All layers separated off the BG. All right, so their highest number is their lowest level. Okay, well, it still goes in the same order, just numbered differently. That's fine. So technically this would be, because it's in the foreground of everything, that would probably be like number 1 because it's at the top. When you would do behind it, so let me just turn this guy off for a sec. If you're going to do the door, so let's just say this guy would probably be boop, 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 boop. Probably level 3 because you have to draw something behind there. So I'm just going to do the doors thing here. Everything with the wall and indication here, and he comes from this wall, so you are separating this area. Okay, I know what to do. So pretty much, I'm just going to do crappy line work here just to indicate this whole area. Yeah, so from here, so this whole part of the wall here, even with the dresser, you could probably add it all in. This would be a separated area. To indicate that the character can go behind and then come out in front of this wall, you have to do a little bit of a paint line. This is where things can get a bit tricky. I doubt they're going to push that onto you on a test immediately because that's something the supervisor has to sit down with you, but I'll give you a kind of a sneaky peeky on how that's done. Where did my colors go? There. So with paint lines, they generally use red. And what you do is just kind of, this will just fill in this whole area here. So this would be on a separate layer. So let's say if we were to fill all of this in, which I probably could do with the line right now, probably does. So I'm just going to show an example of, it's probably not going to go right through it. Hold on, make this harder here. And that should be fine, that should be fine. So if the painter goes into the background, yeah, that way the character can actually, like, this has that overlay over top of that character. And then that way, this part is separated with the bedroom and stuff like that. You would maybe keep the floor and the hallway connected. So to make this easier to understand, you have the hallway, but then you're gonna have a little animated area for this guy to pop in. So you would just go, I guess, red again, fine, whatever. So the hallway goes out like this. I don't know if you can see the end of the hallway with him. You may have to look at the storyboard to see how much of a hallway you see in the back there. Not much, honestly. Okay. So this would be the bottom layer. Floor, hallway. Generally what you would do is put like, you do draw the floor stuff in, so you would have the rug. You wouldn't put the wall and stuff. The wall would be on its own layer over this one. Behind that one, actually. The hallway would have a box. You would, can't see between here. Let me just, so you have an idea. Okay. So there'd be like a box there to indicate that this character can walk on this tone or color. And they would just fill it in with a colored tone or something like that. It's, if you could see the background, you probably could see a bit of like the hallway, maybe a door or something or whatever. There's something in the corner there, but I can't really see it. So again, this is more of like a color card kind of situation, but you can, it's easily connected to the floor here because it could be all part of one thing. So then this one technically would be number 2. Yeah, way to get the feeling, put that one up there. This one would be 3. And the way that would work would be, this is the next half of this part. So it'd be this all the way to the end here, where it ends in the closet, I guess, to that part. Turn this off again. Okay, so from here, 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 here. So if I were to fill this in, would you do this for me, or are you going to freak out again? Just to get an idea where it is. Oh yeah, it's red. So if I bring this guy, you went in BG, you butt. All right, fine. Do this myself. HCO3. Four. What that is. This would be BG anyways. Your BG is your color card kind of thing. They don't really do much to it. It just stays this way. You can always like go BG 02. So that's the, whoops. That's the name of the scene. That's what we did in Loud House anyways. I'm pretty sure we did that. Yeah, BG04A, whatever the episode name was and stuff like that. And it was set up that way. So now if I were to fill this back, you can kind of indicate that it, this area here overlaps this part here. Siri, no one asked you. Turn off. She's listening in again. So that's how you can kind of figure out how a character, like, you got to break it down that way. Again, this is a more trickier method. I don't think they're going to put this into a test, but you have the knowledge for it anyways, just to kind of get an idea that things need to be separated for a character to come out from behind a wall to overlapping a wall. And honestly, there'll be times where I do a scene and I think I got it, and then of course the supervisor's just like, well, this part overlaps too, and I'm just like, oh, I missed that. It happens. Supervisor will give you direction on making sure how that works. Just it's all about your brain power and trying to figuring it out as much as possible. The next level would be the bed, and then of course probably this little table, and then this ball would be separated as top. So you're looking at not including the background layer here, because I have drawn on it for some reason. So you've got hallway and floor 1. Then you've got this main part of the bedroom 2. And then you've got this overlay of the bedroom 3. The door is probably going to have to go in between that. So you're looking at 5, 6 if it needs to be open. And then 7 for the bed. And this thing here doesn't go behind here, so you don't have to separate that part. And then 8 for the ball. So 8 layers. That's how you break it down. Does that make sense? Does anyone see how that's done? Again. Yeah, sure.
Wait, can you repeat what we're separating? So it's the ball, the bed, the door, the wall.
Mm-hmm.
You
Like
said 8.
Yeah, 8, because the wall becomes 2 layers because of that. The door opening open.
Yeah, okay.
So you probably want to take a screenshot or something just to have that for your notes when you get to it. Again, the video will be up for you guys to see. The door, you will have to do a closed version of the door, and you will have to do an open version of the door. So 2.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
When we are holding down shift to make a straight line, is there a way to lock the point from which we are making the line from? Because if I place a line that's in the wrong spot and I control Z, I have to click the origin point of the line again. And if I'm zooming out to like direct the line in the right direction, it's kind of annoying to have to go back and click on the right spot over and over until I get it right.
Yeah, you're probably just going to have to zoom in like close enough that you can see it. It's again, it's a rough process. It's a little of annoying for sure. Worst comes to worst, use the line tool if that's what you need to do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so the line tool is there for like worst comes to worst. You really need to like really zoom in and zoom out kind of thing. You can rely on that. It's just not to rely on it all the time because it makes things stiffer. That's all. I mean, it's fine for I don't mind it being used for things like the floor grid. That's fine. But when it comes to actual layout, you want to probably avoid doing that.
Okay. Because Paint Tool SI has that option where, like, if you click a place and then make a line using Shift, it'll just automatically remember where you like clicked in the first place. So you can just keep Control Z until you get it right. So
yeah, Clip Studio has an amazing perspective tool, but yeah, the college doesn't want us using them either. So
right. No, that's fair.
It's just more of like not allowing trying to figure things out on your own, not letting the computer do the work for you. Hey, once you have a total idea of where everything goes, you can totally go on those programs and go nuts. It's just because for studio standard, if you have these problems, and they'll notice if you're using cheats and shortcuts that way, and they'll wonder why you're doing that kind of thing. So it's just to avoid those problems in the future.
Yeah, good to know the standard methods of practice and all that. Cool.
Yeah. All about the fundamentals. Always about the fundamentals.
Exactly.
Any other questions?
I actually have a question.
Yep.
But it's about the list for critique.
Yep.
Is that for the module or just?
It could be for anything for this class, because this class is going to be probably for those who want to get module lists and I guess, anything for their layout if they want some help on that. So what I'll do, I'm going to go on it right now, crit list, and just say class 2. Just state your name. Come on. State name. and whether you're okay with text or call. So let me know, and then we can figure out whether it's going to do Discord. Yeah, if you want Discord, if you want Zoom, I don't think many are going to want Zoom, but those who don't have Discord, they can email me and let me know that they're looking for assistance on that, because I'll have the email situation open too. You'll just whenever I get the email, that's going to be your time slot. I'm writing people's names down as they go. And there we go. And then I can address it as it fills up. If it gets too many, I'll probably do a stop and then just let me finish off with these guys. And then I'll say conclude and then continue on kind of thing. That's kind of like I did last semester. It worked out fine. If you're okay with no rush or anything, you can indicate that and I can get you afterwards. Again, I can do text, so which means you can ask me questions and I can answer the questions, or I can do a draw picture kind of thing. You just have to give me a screenshot of what you're talking about. And then, yeah, if you want to call or Discord to go over top of everything. Sound good?
Yep.
All right. Any other questions before I turn off Zoom?
Yeah, I've got one just real quick.
Yeah.
Are you wanting us to fill in the background like you did on the screen share, or?
No, I'm just showing it as an example of the levels of the reason why we do that kind of thing. It's no, I want you guys figuring out the background yourself. I'm just kind of showing why with the separation works the way it does.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have one more question. Sorry.
Yeah.
So you said we should find 8 layers. I can only find 7. Is the little nightstand table a layer on its own?
No. So the floor.
The floor. Okay, that's the one I was forgetting. Okay.
The floor is what connects with the backdrop for the hallway, I guess you could say, because it would just be filled in with a color.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
cool.
yeah, so the character would walk in on the floor layer, which would overlap onto there and there. So yeah.
Okay, hold on, wait. Let me just make sure I got this right. So ball, floor, bed, 2 doors, 2 walls, and I think that's still only 7. What am I missing?
You got the 2 doors.
Yeah, 2 doors.
Let me count.
The closet?
What I did it. No, the closet. There's no interact in the closet, so I think we're okay. Let me count to make sure I didn't make a mistake. So we have back 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You got the ball in there too, yeah? Yeah, okay, maybe 7.
Okay.
Well, the doorknob might be a situation.
Oh.
Just looking at that now. I knew I wrote down 8. And I was like, I wrote it down for a reason. I'm like, that's probably why.
Okay.
Because the doorknob is actually being interacted with. So the hand needs to wrap around behind it.
Right.
So that indicates that it actually it turns. So the way they cheat that is that they make the animation cover over top of it, but it has to be a separate layer to do that.
Okay. Cool.
Okay.
Cool. Just want to make sure I wasn't missing anything crucial.
Sure.
But yeah, I think the floor was probably where I was.
No worries.
I have a question too.
Yep.
I don't think I can work on Photoshop when Zoom's open because it's I can't draw. It's just really, it keeps on crashing.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, can I exit Zoom to work? But then how am I, if I have a question, how can I ask a question?
Are you on Discord?
Yeah.
Well, then
Does this work?
we can do it through Discord because you can do a call through there and everything too.
Okay, thank you so much.
No problem. And if you don't have Discord, email me. That's all I say. I'll be here by the emails waiting around.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Another question. So are we cleaning the storyboard up? Because I'm trying to think about what kind of mind weight and stuff I should be doing. Is something consistent or?
You don't touch the boards at all. It's you just copy and paste them into the scene just to know what's going on. They're there as a guideline only.
Okay. And there's someone in our Discord group who said they're having problems with joining.
Okay, well, just let them know that we can go on Discord after. They can join on the list or something. Yeah, I'll reply to them on that one. So any more questions?
So we're not cleaning this up? I thought we were gonna clean this up, like after we did the rough. We don't line it?
Oh no, you'll clean it up. You'll clean up the layout, not the boards.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Sorry.
just the layout, because you don't have to touch the boards. They're just there as a just therefore as a guideline to help you to see what's separated, what's being interacted, where the character's standing, that kind of stuff. The only thing that you will be doing cleanup and everything on will be the actual layout itself with the separate layers.
What do you mean by the, like, I don't understand when you're talking about separating the board and the layout?
Yeah, so every layer that you set up, so for instance, like we said, there was 8 altogether. So I'm gonna write this down so we see.
Oh, okay.
And so because the way that this works, where's my buttons? There we go. They work, like Loud House worked from bottom layer to the top layer overlap. To me, that makes more sense, but they work the opposite way. So, well, their numbers are set up the opposite way. So instead of 1 being here, it's 4. So it still goes the same way, but they're just numbered differently, which to me is confusing. But so the bottom one, so first you got BG. Don't touch BG. BG is always the same. So it'd be BG02 because of that. Then you would have HCO. We're doing 8 layers, so 8. Yep. So this one would be floor and hall. HC07 would be back wall. And then HC6 would be the front wall. So I'm just going to indicate here what's red. This is black, right? Just so you guys have an idea. And then we have HCO5, which would then be the door. Probably, oh, no. Hold on, let me do this right. This guy actually will change. Make my brush bigger. Because the door needs to go between these 2 walls. So HT6 is closed door, not bore. And then HT5 is open door. And then this one, 03, doorknob. I didn't forget you this time. That's 4. Jesus. HC03 would be now that wall. So front wall, as I called it, yes. Front wall, which is the black. There we go. HC02 would be the bed. And then 01, the ball. Those are the separated layers for the scene.
So we'd be making like a clean line art for these?
Yeah, after the rough is done. You've got the rough guideline. You just have to make sure perspective is working for the scene and everything. You're pretty much drawing from the board. So exactly what the board is pretty much setting up. You just have to separate, make sure you're drawing to the style. Again, if you need to, refer to the opposite side just to get an idea of like what maybe the tables and stuff are going to do it. It's all about how you interpret the art style and how that influences the layouts. That's what they're going to really be testing you on, and how you perceive that. And of course, your perspective.
Okay.
Okay. We'll zoom in on that so I'm just going to see a bit of a shot. It's horrible writing. I'm sorry.
Do we have to do the whole thing in Photoshop or just the rough like breakdowns at the start?
The only thing you have to do, like you can delete all your roughs and stuff afterwards. you're really just doing the cleanup. That's all it is that you hand in with your storyboards and your field guide and everything like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But for the whole thing, you want us to sort of do it in Photoshop just to get our, like, feet in the water, sort of.
Well, that's what you'll be using in industry no matter what. Photoshop
Right.
will always be the standard, unfortunately. But
Okay.
yeah, it's, I mean, you could use another program, I suppose, as long as it follows the same format as Photoshop. But the only one I would say would be the closest to it would be Clip Studio. I think.
Okay.
But you would have to save it in a PSD for the file, for sure.
Oh, that's fine. But I think, I'll try to stick with Photoshop for now then.
Yeah, it might as well get used to it, to something that you'd probably be using a lot in the industry. And trust me, yes,
Exactly, yeah.
the crashes are common, so try to save every 10 minutes if you can.
I have a question as well.
Yep.
Are we only drawing like to the storyboard, or are we drawing past what we see on the storyboard?
You will draw a little bit past, so you will want to make sure you probably bring it out. See where the black line ended or where I was here? Probably around there, because you see it's past the field guide, and then red to here. You always want to have a little bit of extra room, if they have to move the camera key around. It's very important to have that extra room.
We're just kind of inferring what would be there.
Yeah. So you can extend something, make it a bit longer if you need to. If it looks like a cabinet, you can figure out, at least the one on the side here looks like it ends pretty easily. This one might be a bit tricky, but it looks like there's a big bulletin board, so that can extend further. And then I would look at the bed, the shape of the bed. That would be a big indicator of filling in some of that space. Hint, hint.
Sorry. Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, going from that question, so we're looking at the actual other image to fill in the blanks.
Yeah, if you can see stuff that works for the scene, then yes, like the bed is going to be an indicator immediately.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was just wondering, where do you expect us to be by next class with this?
Well, I hope this scene would be finished for you. The locker one won't take too long to do. This one's a little more trickier.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Anything else? All right, so what I'll do, I'll end Zoom. If you have any questions, throw yourself on the list there, and I'll start getting to everybody, okay? I'm good? You good? I see thumbs up, that's good. All right. And the poor person who can't get in and out of the room, just let them know to, let me message them quickly. In the waiting room, switching to Discord. Switching to Discord, hope that helps. I hope.
Jacqueline?
Yeah?
Could you make 2 voice channels in the Discord, like just in case some of us wanted to like be in a voice chat while we work, and then you could have one to do like critiques and stuff?
Yeah, I definitely can.
All right, chill. I'm gonna be in the VC if anyone wants to join me, just chat and work.
Okay. All right, we're all good. Stop share here. And hopefully, since this wasn't too long, this video won't take too long to download, and I can have this uploaded so you guys can review this video whenever you need to. Hopefully, I can get it up by tonight. If Zoom is going to be kind to me, we'll find out.
And Jacqueline?
Yep.
For the people on the list, will you just message us on Discord?
Yep. And then we'll decide whether you, like, if you have voice or whatever, I'll do a call or go through it that way.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Alrighty. Okay, have a good one, guys. Talk to you soon. All right. And I want to end, please.